Top 15 gemstones predicted to overtake diamonds by 2030. For over 2 centuries, one stone ruled them all, a symbol of eternity, a promise of perfection, a diamond carved not only by earth, but by empire. But what if forever was never the truth? What if, deep beneath the surface, the world's value is already changing hands? Today, color returns to power. Stones once forgotten, buried, or dismissed are rising again. Some shimmer like neon water. Some burn with fire older than history, and a few might soon outshine the diamond itself. In today's episode, we'll uncover 15 gemstones predicted to overtake diamonds by 2030, not by marketing, but by meaning. Through geology, trade, and time, they're rewriting what precious really means. This is not a jewelry story. It's a story about evolution. Because beauty is no longer what endures, it's what dares to change. So tell me, do you still believe diamonds are forever? Comment below before we begin, because by the end of this journey, your answer might not be the same. Ranked 15th, Aquaprase, the new gem that shouldn't exist. They say all great discoveries are accidents. In 2013, a Greek gem explorer named Yanni Malas opened a shipment of rough stones in Africa and noticed something that shouldn't exist. Amid familiar chalcedonies and agates lay a fragment glowing in an impossible hue, a greenish blue that looked neither earthly nor synthetic. For a moment, he thought it was a turquoise, but under light, the gem refused to behave like one. Turquoise absorbs warmth. This one reflected it. It was smooth like chrysoprase, yet its color shimmered like sea glass under stormlight. He sent it to laboratories in New York and Athens. The verdict: unknown variety of chalcedony, a new gemstone, discovered by mistake. Aquaprase is a silica-based chalcedony, chemically similar to agate or chrysoprase, but with one crucial anomaly. Its color comes not from nickel or chromium, but from a unique blend of iron and chromium in variable oxidation states, giving it that deep aqua to apple green glow. It's not transparent, but luminous, like light passing through ancient water. Scientists later confirmed its natural origin in Namibia, one of the few deposits ever found. The gem's matrix sometimes includes iron veins, forming wave-like inclusions, patterns resembling aerial maps of coastlines, a visual rarity prized by cutters. Collectors describe aquaprase as the color of ancient sky trapped in stone. Under diffuse light, it appears minty. Under sunlight, almost teal. But what makes it visually distinct from turquoise or chrysoprase is its clarity of tone, a living color that shifts subtly as one moves around it. This is not a gem that dazzles. It soothes. Where diamond screams for attention, aquaprase whispers permanence. That quiet oceanic depth is why jewelers in Paris and Tokyo began calling it the modern philosopher's gem. A stone that reminds the wearer of stillness in a world addicted to shine. Aquaprase entered the market only in 2016, making it one of the youngest gemstones ever recognized by the international gemological community. Because it's new, its price trajectory is still unpredictable, yet promising. Premium cabochons already fetch $100 to $300 per carat, and the finest translucent cuts, exceeding $500 per carat, are finding their way into boutique designer collections. Unlike diamond, controlled by monopolies in marketing, Aquaprase exists in a limited, unregulated supply. Its rarity isn't manufactured, it's geological. Across cultures, blue-green stones have symbolized harmony, emotional clarity, and rebirth. From Egyptian turquoise to Amazonite in Mesoamerica, this color family has always carried meaning. Aquaprase continues that lineage, but with modern relevance, a new stone in an age obsessed with the old. Some even call it the stone that arrived too late, as if the earth had hidden one last secret, long after humans thought they'd found them all. Diamonds are billions of years old, yet their story feels complete. Aquaprase is young, unpredictable, untamed, still becoming. So which would you rather own? The perfection of the past or the promise of something new? And if you think Aquaprase is rare, wait until you see the next stone, a gem so scarce that even museums can't keep it in stock. Ranked 14th, Grandidierite, the ocean's secret gem. Discovered on the windswept coast of southern Madagascar in 1902, Grandidierite was named after the French naturalist Alfred Grandidier. Yet for more than a century, the world forgot it existed. Until recently, only museums and a handful of collectors even knew its name. Then in the last decade, a few carats surfaced on the market, each glowing with a blue-green so pure it looked like light frozen beneath water. Grandidierite is a magnesium-iron borosilicate formed in metamorphic rocks where boron-rich fluids meet high-grade schists. Its color, that haunting teal, comes from trace amounts of iron in a perfectly aligned crystal lattice, producing a phenomenon gemologists call trichroism. Under different lighting angles, a single crystal can show blue, green, and clear hues simultaneously. Because its structure is complex and brittle, cutting grandidierite is risky. Only master lapidaries dare facet it. That difficulty alone keeps the supply microscopic. In fact, fewer than 2,000 gem-quality pieces are known to exist. In daylight, grandidierite radiates like seawater seen from the cliffs of Madagascar. Soft, translucent, calm. Under artificial light, its inner blue intensifies, revealing depths within depths, as though the stone remembers the ocean that birthed it. To collectors, it's not merely beautiful, it's meditative. Where diamond defines brilliance by precision, grandidierite defines beauty by tranquility. Luxury houses like Boucheron and Chaumet have quietly begun featuring it in limited collections, presenting it as the rarest color of the sea. That phrase, rare, natural, unenhanced, now carries more prestige than flawless. Until 2014, grandidierite was virtually absent from auctions. Then, a 4.5-carat transparent gem sold for over $50,000 per carat, shocking dealers who had ignored it for decades. Since then, prices have continued to climb as small finds appear, mainly from Morombi, Madagascar, a deposit now largely depleted. Unlike diamonds, whose prices are driven by perception, grandidierite's value stems from mathematical rarity. Even among rare stones, it is rare to the second power, hard to find, and even harder to facet without loss. Investors call it the blue ghost, visible yet untouchable. In Malagasy culture, oceanic colors symbolize renewal and safe passage. Some local miners believe grandidierite carries the calm of the sea and the strength of stone, a bridge between movement and stillness. For Western collectors, it's becoming a statement piece, proof that luxury is shifting from mass perfection to singular imperfection. Diamonds promise eternity, but eternity, as markets show, can fade into routine. Grandidierite, in contrast, offers silence, a luxury money can't replicate. So tell me, if you could choose between the loud sparkle of a diamond and the quiet glow of the ocean, which would you keep? Comment your choice below. And as the tide of value keeps changing, we dive deeper into a gem whose neon fire already sells for more than gold itself. Rank 13th, PARAÍBA, tourmaline, the gem that glows like electricity. In 1989, deep in the tropical hills of Paraíba, Brazil, miners struck something that defied reason. When the first fragments were unearthed and cleaned, they didn't sparkle like ordinary stones. They glowed, even under shadow. Gemologists thought it was a trick of the light. It wasn't. For the first time in human history, nature had produced a gem that seemed to contain its own electricity. Paraíba tourmaline is a copper-bearing elbate, a borosilicate mineral colored by trace amounts of copper and manganese. That copper, rare in any gemstone, bends light in a way that creates its signature neon glow. An inner fire so intense it looks artificially lit. Under spectrometer analysis, the color peaks between 480 to 520 nanometers, the exact wavelength of tropical seawater under direct sun. Unlike most tourmalines, which form over millions of years, Paraíba's origin was volcanic and rapid, with its copper trapped in pegmatite veins that cooled too quickly for large crystals to form. That's why most roughs are small fragments, not boulders, and why every faceted stone feels like condensed lightning. The color vocabulary doesn't quite fit it. It's not blue, not green, but neon turquoise, a hue that doesn't exist anywhere else in nature. Under daylight, it pulses. Under candlelight, it seems alive. Collectors describe it as color with its own heartbeat. For jewelers, this was a revolution. Where diamonds reflected light, PARAÍBA emitted it. Within a few years, it transformed the definition of modern luxury, from icy perfection to radiant individuality. In high jewelry, a single well-cut PARAÍBA now anchors entire collections, commanding visual attention even beside rubies or sapphires. On camera, its glow pierces lenses. Under microscopes, it almost vibrates. When the first PARAÍBAs reached the international market in 1990, they sold for $200 per carat. By 2005, after the Brazilian mines were nearly exhausted, the price climbed past $20,000 per carat. Today, top specimens from the original Batala mine are fetching over $60,000 per carat, outpacing many diamonds of equal weight. Even stones from newer localities in Mozambique and Nigeria, chemically similar but less saturated, have become highly sought after. Collectors now classify them as PARAÍBA-type tourmaline, yet the original Brazilian pieces remain untouchable in value and myth. Unlike diamonds, PARAÍBA has no cartel, no monopoly, no marketing empire. Its power lies in scarcity, and in that impossible light no man can replicate. In Brazil, locals called it O Fogo do Mar, the fire of the sea. Some believe it carries the energy of rebirth, merging water and lightning, serenity and power in one body. In modern symbolism, it's become a stone of innovation, worn by those who challenge tradition, just as it challenges diamond's dominance. Luxury houses use it sparingly, often as a centerpiece for bespoke art jewelry, and investors quietly refer to it as the Tesla of gemstones. Because in a world built on brightness, PARAÍBA isn't reflected. It's generated. Diamonds reflect what's outside. PARAÍBA shines from within. So which do you think holds more value? Light that's borrowed or light that's born? But as PARAÍBA's glow fades from exhausted minds, another sapphire rises. One whose color looks like sunset caught in a drop of fire. Ranked 12th, Padparadscha Sapphire, the sunset that never fades. There is a color that gemologists can't define. Too pink to be orange, too orange to be pink. It sits on the edge of language itself. That color belongs to one of Earth's rarest sapphires. Padparadscha, a name borrowed from the Sinhalese word Padma-raga, meaning the color of a lotus at dawn. For centuries, even kings argued over what it truly was, a sapphire, a ruby, or something in between. But one thing was sure, no other gem captured light like a setting sun trapped in crystal. Padparadscha is a corundum, the same mineral species as ruby and sapphire, but with a delicate balance of trace iron and chromium that produces its peachy pink radiance. True Padparadscha occurs mainly in Sri Lanka, with smaller finds in Madagascar and Tanzania. Still, the chemistry of the Ceylon stones remains unmatched, their color tones so precise that labs debate where the boundary ends. Under the microscope, its growth lines look like ripples of molten sunset. Every inclusion records the slow cooling of magma under pressure, a literal geological sunrise sealed inside stone. Because the shade must sit perfectly between pink and orange, cutters lose most of the rough to reveal that fleeting gradient. That waste is why the gem's price rises every year, even without marketing hype. In gemology, few colors evoke emotion as powerfully as Padparadscha's dusk glow. Hold it under daylight and it blushes with life. Under candlelight, it turns amber, like fire mellowed by memory. It doesn't blind the eye like a diamond. It warms it. Collectors call it the heartbeat hue. This tone became symbolic of rare equilibrium, between passion and peace, fire and calm, love and restraint. And in modern jewelry, it's rewriting tradition. High-end ateliers now use Padparadscha as the new engagement stone, chosen not for status but for story. In 2025, the gem's average price surpassed $10,000 per carat, with top pieces fetching over $30,000 per carat, rivaling fine blue sapphires and even certain diamonds. The diamond engagement era, built on slogans, is fading. Couples now search for meaning, stones that feel alive. Padparadscha delivers that intimacy, a gemstone that looks like love in its most human moment. Imperfect, fleeting, beautiful. That emotional rarity, not its carat weight, drives its market surge. Investors call it the emotional diamond. Stable, scarce, yet fueled by personal resonance rather than corporate control. And in Asian markets, especially Japan and Korea, Padparadscha is now viewed as a talisman of sincerity, the gem of honest love. Ancient Ceylonese monks once associated it with compassion and enlightenment, believing that the balance of pink and orange mirrored the harmony between heart and spirit. Today, in a world chasing perfection, Padparadscha reminds people that value lies in balance, not extremes. That subtle philosophy is quietly shifting luxury trends. While diamonds shout power, Padparadscha whispers presence. The kind of beauty that doesn't fade, it glows. So, which love would you choose? The flawless, cold eternity of a diamond, or the living warmth of a Padparadscha sunset? Tell me below, what does precious mean to you? Because if Padparadscha is the sunset of sapphires, then the following gem is nightfall itself. A jade so imperial it once defined empires. Ranked 11th. Imperial Jade, Type A. The stone that defined empires. Before there was diamond, there was jade, the original currency of beauty, power, and immortality. Long before Europe crowned its monarchs with gemstones, emperors of China measured heaven itself in green. Among all forms of jade, one stood apart, a translucent stone so vivid, so alive, it was said to contain the soul of spring. They called it fei kui, what the West would later name Imperial Jade. Imperial Jade is the highest grade of jadeite, a sodium-aluminum silicate formed under immense pressure in metamorphic zones of northern Myanmar, near the Mogok Stone Tract. Unlike nephrite, its cousin of softer luster, jadeite achieves chromium-rich transparency, creating the pure, glowing imperial green. The finest stones classified as Type A are entirely natural, untreated, unimpregnated, unaltered. Under magnification, you see a fibrous mosaic, interlocking grains that scatter light like water trapped in a crystal. Only a few pockets of high-grade rough remain, buried within political and geological uncertainty. Every carat mined reduces a finite past. Imperial jade does not sparkle, it breathes. Hold it to light, and the glow seems to come from within. A steady, soft fluorescence, like sunlight filtered through bamboo leaves. Its surface carries what Chinese carvers call grease luster, a tactile warmth absent from faceted stones. Where a diamond shouts brilliance, jade murmurs life. For centuries, artisans shaped it into bangles believed to guard the pulse, pendants meant to balance the spirit, and seals that commanded dynasties. To wear it was to harmonize with nature itself, not to own wealth, but to embody virtue. Modern designers now fuse jade with platinum or minimalist gold, blending heritage and modernity. And in high jewelry auctions, top Type A pieces consistently outprice colorless diamonds of equal weight, with bangles exceeding $1 million. Imperial Jade is one of the few gems whose value appreciates regardless of the trend. Demand from mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan continues to surge, driven not by novelty but by legacy. Collectors view it as a cultural asset, part heirloom, part investment hedge. Because heat or polymer treatments instantly downgrade the gem's status from Type A to Type B or C, the gem's value is rooted in authenticity rather than carat weight. Certification by NGTC or SSEF can swing the price by 6 figures. In an age of synthetic everything, natural jadeite remains a fixed point of trust. Economists even track jade auctions to gauge consumer confidence among Asia's elite. When the prices of imperial bangles rise, markets call it the green index. In ancient belief, jade was the bridge between heaven and earth. Confucian texts describe it as the stone of Ren, benevolence, wisdom, and integrity. Burial suits of Han emperors were sewn entirely from jade plates to preserve the soul against decay. To this day, many Chinese families gift jade at marriage or birth, not as decoration, but as a vessel of protection and continuity. Imperial jade is more than gemology. It is civilization in mineral form. It doesn't compete with diamonds' glitter. It outlasts its era. Diamonds are traded for status. Jade is passed down for meaning. So which holds greater value? The brilliance that dazzles the world, or the glow that endures through generations? Comment below. I'd love to know which kind of legacy you'd choose to keep. From the heart of empires, we travel to a stone born in the volcanoes of California. A gem so rare it glows blue under ultraviolet night. Ranked 10th, Benitoite, the blue star of California. In 1907, a miner panning through the gravels of the San Benito River in California noticed a flash of impossible blue, a crystal glowing like a drop of twilight. He sent it to a local jeweler, who couldn't identify it. Months later, scientists confirmed what no one expected. It was a new mineral, unknown to science, rarer than sapphire, more radiant than any gem the American continent had ever seen. They named it Benitoite after the river where it was born, and in 1985, it became the official gemstone of California. But few know that its story would also end in extinction. Benitoite is a barium-titanium silicate, a gemstone born from a narrow miracle of geology. Hydrothermal fluids rich in titanium rising through serpentinate host rock under the right temperature window. A formation so delicate, it has never repeated anywhere else on Earth. That's why all gem-quality benitoite comes from one single locality, the Dallas Gem Mine near Coalinga, California. The crystals are small, rarely above a few carats, but their geometry is mesmerizing. Perfectly sharp, triangular prisms glowing sapphire blue under daylight and electric indigo under UV light. Gemologists call it the stone that glows back because, under shortwave ultraviolet rays, benitoite fluoresces a bright sky blue, a spectral signature unique to itself. Benitoite doesn't compete with diamond on brilliance alone. It transcends it through character. Its dispersion, 0.046, rivals that of diamond, 0.044, yet the color is richer, shifting from icy cornflower to deep ocean blue as the gem turns. Under magnification, you see rainbows splitting within the facets, miniature auroras trapped inside. It is, in every sense, light in mineral form, ephemeral, pure, American. Collectors often describe it as a gem that looks back at you because its triangular crystal form, reflecting light from three directions, almost seems to blink. To the trained eye, it's not just rare, it's impossible. Benitoite's rarity isn't an exaggeration, it's a geological fact. When the Dallas Gem Mine ceased commercial production in the early 2000s, the known supply froze forever. Today, the global market handles only a few dozen faceted stones per year, most under 1 carat. The best gems, flawless and over 2 carats, command prices above $15,000 per carat, and there will never be more. Dealers refer to it as a finite discovery. No synthetic substitutes, no new deposits, no chance of rediscovery. In contrast to diamond's endless marketing cycle, benitoite has entered what collectors call the museum phase, where every existing stone becomes a historical artifact. Investment-wise, it's one of the few gems whose trajectory is absolute scarcity, not speculation. To Californians, benitoite is more than a gemstone. It's a fragment of the state's identity, the blue fire of its mountains. In the early 20th century, local lapidaries treated it as a national treasure, comparing it to the bald eagle of the mineral world. Its ultraviolet glow even inspired modern artists. Installations in the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles display it under alternating light, allowing viewers to watch color itself awaken. And yet, its most profound symbolism lies in impermanence, a reminder that beauty, once discovered, can vanish forever. Diamonds are eternal, or so the saying goes. But benitoite proves that sometimes value lies in what can never be returned. So tell me, would you rather own a gem that lasts forever, or one that reminds you that forever is an illusion? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll feature one in the next episode. From a vanished mine in California, our journey crosses oceans, to a gem that changes color as if it lives 2 lives at once. Ranked 9th, Blue Garnet, the gem with 2 souls. In January 1998, a gem trader in Madagascar opened a parcel of garnets under the morning sun. They were teal blue, an unusual color for the species. But when evening came and he lit a candle, something extraordinary happened. The stones turned deep red. What he had found wasn't a trick of the eye. It was the world's first color-changing garnet, a stone that lives two lives at once. Blue garnet is a vanadium and chromium-rich variety of pyrospessartine, formed under high-temperature metamorphic conditions where volcanic fluids meet aluminum silicate rocks. This trace element mix produces a dual absorption spectrum, making it appear bluish-green in daylight and reddish-purple under incandescent light. So far, deposits have been confirmed only in Bikali, Madagascar, with minor occurrences in Tanzania, Sri Lanka, and Kenya. Every rough crystal weighs just fractions of a carat. Most transparent face stable pieces are smaller than 1 carat. Under magnification, the internal structure resembles a galaxy, swirling inclusions that bend light into two identities. At first glance, blue garnet seems calm, oceanic, and intellectual. Then with a shift in light, it burns like a ruby. Collectors call this metamorphosis the heartbeat effect. Daylight serenity transforming into nocturnal passion. Where diamonds are constant, blue garnet is alive, a reminder that beauty can change with circumstance. When set in jewelry, it creates a living conversation between color and mood. Under a restaurant's warm light, it glows red. Outdoors, it turns incredible teal. Each wearer, each environment, writes its own version of the gem. Because the discovery is recent and the material is microscopic, blue garnet has become a quiet obsession among high-end collectors. In the early 2000s, small stones sold for hundreds per carat. By 2024, fine specimens over 1 carat were priced at $15,000 to $20,000 per carat, surpassing most rubies of similar size. Its appeal lies in irreproducible rarity. Even laboratory attempts to synthesize its dual color have failed to capture the exact transition. Auction houses now list it beside Alexandrite as a next-generation phenomenon gem, but with a smaller supply and fresher intrigue. Investors view it as the youngest member of the elite chameleon stones, gems defined by transformation rather than stability. In Malagasy folklore, stones that change color were believed to hold two spirits, one that wakes with the sun and one that guards the night. Modern collectors interpret this as a metaphor, the balance between logic and emotion, reason and desire. Across cultures, blue garnet has become a symbol of adaptation and duality, a reflection of how identity itself can shift and remain true. It's not a gem that pretends to be eternal. It's a gem that reminds us that change is also a form of permanence. Diamonds stay the same wherever they go. Blue garnet changes, but never loses itself. So tell me, in a world that rewards perfection, would you rather own constancy or transformation? Share your answer below. I'll feature one in the next episode. From a gem that lives two lives to one that exists in almost none, a crystal so scarce that fewer than 10 are cut each year. Ranked 8th, Musgravite, the ghost of the mineral kingdom. In 1967, in the barren desert of South Australia, a prospector studying a meteorite field found a crystal so faint he almost mistook it for quartz. When analyzed under polarized light, it revealed something extraordinary. A new mineral never seen before on Earth. Its color, gray lavender under daylight, smoky violet under tungsten, defied description. Scientists named it after its birthplace, the Musgrave Ranges. The name stuck. The stone did not, because it was rarely seen again. Musgravite belongs to the Taphate family, a group of beryllium, magnesium, aluminum oxides crystallized under extreme metamorphic pressure. What makes it singular is its structural precision. Aluminum replaced by small traces of magnesium and iron, creating a spectral violet-gray hue that sits between sapphire and spinel. It forms only in ultra-rare metamorphic pockets, Madagascar, Greenland, Tanzania, and the original Musgrave Ranges, where the heat and pressure alignment exists for mere geological seconds. Even gemologists joke that Musgravite is a typo of nature, conditions repeatable in theory but not in practice. Each transparent crystal that can actually be cut is a miracle of survival. Under daylight, Musgravite is subdued, an intellectual violet, neither loud nor shy. Under incandescent light, it deepens into a steel gray with hints of rose. Its brilliance is subtle, its color elusive. Unlike diamonds, which display clarity, Musgravite displays mystery, the kind of beauty that resists photography. It looks different under every light source because its refractive index sits between sapphire and spinel, producing a slow, haunting glimmer that seems to move inside the stone. Collectors call it the philosopher's gem, quiet, deliberate, existing between categories, between visible and invisible. For decades, Musgravite was known only in textbooks. Then in the early 2000s, a few transparent crystals were discovered in Tunduru, Tanzania. Suddenly, the gem world realized how unattainable it was. By 2020, the total number of known faceted stones worldwide exceeded only 10 specimens over 2 carats. Its price? Up to $40,000 per carat, depending on clarity and hue, comparable to elite rubies and higher than most diamonds. But unlike diamond, Musgravite's value doesn't rely on branding or symbolism. It rests entirely on mathematical rarity. Every cut stone represents the end of a geological chapter that will likely never repeat. To collectors, it's not jewelry, it's a fossil of light. In metaphysical lore, stones that hover between gray and violet are seen as transitional, bridges between material and spiritual realms. To mineralogists, that metaphor isn't far from the truth. Musgravite literally sits between atomic orders, stable yet ephemeral. It has become the emblem of rarity itself, featured in museum showcases beside Painite and Apatite as proof that nature still holds secrets. Its reputation among gem circles is paradoxical. Too rare to trade, too valuable to wear. A gem that exists primarily in conversation, not in possession. Diamonds are accessible, an empire of abundance. Musgravite is the opposite, existence without presence. So tell me, which has more worth to you? What everyone desires, or what almost no one will ever see? Comment below. I'll feature one perspective in the next episode. From a stone of whispers to one that changes its very identity under light. Our journey continues into the world of transformation and duality. Ranked 7th, Alexandrite, the stone that changes its mind. In the Ural Mountains of Russia, sometime around 1833, miners searching for emerald struck something strange. Crystals that looked green by day, but glowed red by candlelight. At first, they thought it was a mistake. Then the shift repeated. One stone, 2 colors, 2 identities. They named it Alexandrite, in honor of the young Tsarevich Alexander II, a gem that seemed to wear the empire's own colors, green and red, peace and war. It would become both a royal emblem and a riddle of nature. Alexandrite is a variety of chrysoberyl colored by trace chromium, the same element that gives ruby its fire and emerald its heart. Yet within this lattice, chromium atoms are arranged differently, splitting light so that daylight, rich in blue-green wavelengths, makes the stone appear emerald. Under a warm, incandescent lamp, it absorbs green and reflects red. That duality is so precise it's called the Alexandrite effect. The gem forms only in rare geological boundaries where beryllium-rich pegmatite meets chromium-bearing rock, an intersection so unlikely that it's been found in only a handful of places: Russia, Sri Lanka, Brazil, and Tanzania. In nature, it's a geological paradox. 2 elements that rarely coexist, forced together by ancient tectonic accidents. Emerald by day, ruby by night. That phrase became its legend. But the beauty of Alexandrite is not just the shift. It's the moment between shifts, the flicker when both colors exist at once. Turn it under light, and the gem breathes like a heartbeat, half forest, half flame. No other stone captures motion within stillness quite like it. In high jewelry, Alexandrite is used sparingly. It demands theatrical lighting and reverent silence. When worn, it doesn't draw attention. It transforms with the mood, reflecting its surroundings like a living organism. To many, it symbolizes duality, intellect and emotion, reason and passion. control, and surrender. In the 19th century, Alexandrite was considered rarer than diamond. Its original Ural mines were exhausted within decades, leaving only museum specimens. New deposits in Brazil and East Africa revived the gem's presence, but not its abundance. Fine stones showing a complete green-to-red transition above 1 carat now sell for $15,000 to $40,000 per carat, with Russian origin commanding premiums beyond $70,000. Unlike diamond, whose price is set by the industry, Alexandrite's market is organic, driven by color precision and an origin narrative. Its volatility mirrors its character, unpredictable, alive, fascinating. Investors call it the thinking person's gemstone, beauty that demands understanding. In Tsarist Russia, Alexandrite was more than an adornment. It was prophecy. Its two colors matched the Imperial Guard's uniform, green for peace, red for courage. It was believed to balance the wearer's emotions, guiding clarity in times of change. Later, during the Soviet era, it re-emerged as a symbol of resilience, proof that transformation can survive revolution. Today, the gem carries new meaning. In psychology-inspired jewelry design, Alexandrite represents identity fluidity, the acceptance that we change with circumstance, yet remain ourselves. It's both a scientific marvel and a philosophical statement, a gemstone that remembers light. Diamonds never change, they demand admiration. Alexandrite changes and demands understanding. So which would you rather own? A gem that shines the same for everyone, or one that changes just for you? Comment below. The most thoughtful answer will appear in the next episode. From a gem of shifting colors to one once mistaken for royalty itself, a crimson crystal that fooled kings for centuries. Ranked 6th, red spinel, the ruby that fooled kings. For centuries, the world's most remarkable monarchs wore the wrong gem. The Black Prince's ruby in the British crown, not a ruby. The Timur ruby of India, not a ruby. Even the blazing red jewels in Mughal treasure chests turned out to be something else entirely. Spinel, a stone so convincing it fooled empires, and so radiant it no longer cares. Red spinel is a magnesium-aluminum oxide, crystallized in perfect octahedrons within marble under high-temperature metamorphism. Its color comes from trace chromium, the same element responsible for ruby's scarlet glow, but without the structural impurities that cloud corundum. The result? Purer light, cleaner fire, deeper hue. Historically mined from Tajikistan, Myanmar, Mogok, and Sri Lanka, fine red spinel is often found beside ruby in the same host rock. That proximity caused centuries of confusion. Miners thought they were twins until modern spectroscopy proved otherwise. The finest stones show what gemologists call stoplight red, a perfect balance of crimson and neon, flashing brilliance even in dim light. Spinel's refractive index gives it life. It's ruby's twin, learning to breathe. Red spinel carries a color that feels almost sentient, not just red, but awake. Where ruby is regal and dense, spinel is electric, transparent, filled with motion. It glows even in shadow, its facets scattering light like flame behind glass. Unlike ruby, it rarely needs heat treatment. Its beauty is entirely natural, an authenticity collectors adore. Worn under candlelight, it evokes the same ancient aura that once crowned emperors. Yet today, it represents correction and rediscovery. The gem, once mistaken for another, has become the symbol of revealed truth. For centuries, Spinel's curse was anonymity, valued less simply because it wasn't ruby. That changed in the 21st century, when high-end jewelers reclassified spinel as a central gemstone in its own right. Prices have surged more than tenfold since 2010. Fine Burmese reds above 5 carats now command $15,000 to $25,000 per carat, rivaling mid-grade rubies, and in some auctions surpassing them. What makes spinel irresistible to investors is its perfect storm of factors. Zero treatment, declining mine output, museum-level provenance, especially Mogok origin, and the narrative of a hidden king finally reclaiming his throne. To own a fine spinel today is to own a historical correction. The gemstone world's redemption arc. In ancient Persia, Spinel was called Lal, meaning heart of flame. It adorned the crowns of emperors from Samarkand to London, its misidentification ironically giving it the world's most royal pedigree. In Buddhist tradition, red spinel symbolized clarity after illusion, a fitting metaphor for a gem that lives centuries in disguise. Today, collectors see it as the stone of authenticity, the triumph of natural over branded beauty. It reminds us that history can mislabel value, but light never lies. For hundreds of years, Spinel stood in ruby's shadow and shone anyway. So what defines true worth to you? The name the world gives or the light it truly carries? Leave your thoughts below. I'll feature one in the next episode. From a gem once mistaken for another to one so rare it has no twin at all, a crimson crystal from the mountains of Utah, found only in one place on Earth. Ranked 5th, Red Beryl, the scarlet ghost of Utah. In the deserts of southwestern Utah, where volcanoes once tore through ancient limestone, a miner in 1904 found a crystal so red it seemed to bleed light. At first he thought it was ruby, then garnet, then tourmaline. It was none of them. It was red beryl, a gemstone so rare that for every 150,000 diamonds mined, only one red beryl might exist. The earth had made rubies before. But this was a geological accident that would never happen twice. Red beryl, also known as bixbyite, after mineralogist Maynard Bixby, is a beryllium aluminum silicate colored by trace manganese, manganese 3+ ions. It forms under extraordinary conditions. Gas-rich rhyolitic lava, meeting beryllium-bearing vapors, and cooling slowly enough for minute crystals to form. That recipe occurs naturally in only one place, the Wah Wah Mountains of Utah. No other deposit on Earth reproduces the chemistry, temperature, and pressure balance needed for its creation. Each crystal is smaller than a fingernail, most are riddled with inclusions, and it is almost impossible to cut without fracture. The yield of gem-quality stones is so microscopic that even geological textbooks call it a miracle in red. Under light, red beryl is neither the crimson of ruby nor the pink of morganite. It's something in between, a vivid cherry magenta flame with a refractive glow that feels almost alive. Unlike most colored stones, it doesn't fade under heat or sunlight. It keeps its saturation like a trapped ember. Hold one against a white surface and it radiates warmth. Against skin, it deepens into velvet. That dual personality, radiant and intimate, makes it one of the most sensual stones ever discovered. Where diamond dazzles, red beryl invites. Red beryl's scarcity makes it anomalous in the gem market. There are no large mines, no industrial-scale production, no synthetic competition. Every carat is a collector's event. Top transparent stones above 1 carat can command $50,000 to $100,000 per carat, and rough material is now nearly gone. The few remaining claims in Utah yield more dust than crystals. Because supply is effectively fixed, its price behaves more like fine art than a commodity. Every sale sets a new precedent. Auction houses like Bonhams and Heritage list red beryl alongside PARAÍBA and Musgravite as the holy trinity of rarity. To investors, it's not about size, it's about survival, owning something that should not exist. To jewelers, it's the ultimate paradox, a gem too rare to wear. In metaphoric terms, red beryl represents singularity, creation born from chaos. Native American oral traditions from Utah's tribes spoke of fire trapped in stone, a spirit formed when the mountains cooled their anger. Modern collectors see it differently, not divine wrath, but divine chance. It has become a talisman for individuality, the belief that rarity itself is value, that beauty is not repetition, but defiance. Every red beryl is unrepeatable, unreplicable, and unforgettable. Diamonds are everywhere. Red beryl is almost nowhere. So what would you value more, the stone that lasts forever or the one that may never be born again? Leave your answer below. The most compelling comment will be featured in the next episode. From a gem born of volcanic fire, we descend into more incredible depths. to a new generation of stones glowing with electric color, the neon heirs of modern luxury. Ranked fourth, neon apatite, the affordable light of a new era. When a cluster of electric blue crystals emerged from Madagascar's pegmatites in the late 2000s, dealers thought they'd found a cheaper PARAÍBA tourmaline. Under the light, the stones blazed with the same neon intensity, glowing as if wired to an unseen current. But laboratory tests revealed the truth. It wasn't tourmaline at all. It was apatite, a mineral once dismissed as too soft for jewelry, reborn in a form that could rival luxury's brightest gem. The market called it PARAÍBA-like apatite. Collectors called it the people's neon. Neon apatite is a calcium phosphate colored by traces of manganese and rare earth elements that mimic the optical behavior of copper in PARAÍBA tourmaline. Formed in granite pegmatites of Madagascar, Myanmar, and Brazil, it crystallizes in long hexagonal prisms, often tinted from turquoise to electric blue-green. Its hardness, 5 on the Mohs scale, makes it less durable than sapphire or tourmaline. Yet its transparency and color dispersion are extraordinary when handled by skilled cutters. Under daylight, the gem emits a vivid aqualuminescence. Under cool LED light, it pulses like tropical water lit from below. Microscopic inclusions scatter light internally, amplifying that signature liquid glow. Visually, neon apatite is a paradox, inexpensive to some, yet visually indistinguishable from the world's most elite stones. Its hue occupies a wavelength almost identical to PARAÍBA's 490 nanometer band, that rare ecstatic teal that seems half blue, half green, all light. When cut into smooth cabochons, the effect is dreamlike. When faceted, it flashes lightning. Designers in Paris and Seoul use it to infuse fine jewelry with modern energy, a statement that beauty no longer requires exclusivity. It's the gemstone of the new luxury generation, where color matters more than price tag. Until recently, apatite was a collector's curiosity, but with the global fascination with neon gemstones, demand has surged by more than 400% since 2020. Top transparent cuts from Madagascar now trade at $100 to $500 per carat, with exceptional stones topping $1,000 per carat. A modest number compared to PARAÍBA, yet climbing fast. Unlike industrially controlled diamonds, neon apatite thrives on authenticity and accessibility. Its appeal lies in democratized rarity, a beauty anyone can own, not just the elite few. Analysts call it the entry gate to the neon gem revolution, predicting that by 2030, it will anchor a new mid-luxury market tier. For investors, it represents trend velocity, affordable today, but positioned at the intersection of fashion, color psychology, and digital visibility. In the age of screens, neon sells. Across cultures, blue-green hues symbolize renewal and forward motion. In East Asia, it's the color of growth and youth. In the West, it's associated with innovation and clarity. That's why neon apatite resonates so strongly with millennials and Gen Z collectors, a generation trading legacy for luminosity. Where Imperial Jade once defined dynasties and PARAÍBA defined exclusivity, neon apatite defines accessibility without compromise. It's not an imitation, it's evolution, the continuation of the neon dream in a form the modern world can afford. Diamonds built their empire on scarcity. Neon apatite is building its legacy on light. So tell me, in the future of luxury, will value belong to what's rare or to what everyone can finally see shine? Leave your thoughts below. One comment will appear in the next episode. From a gemstone born of color's revolution to one born of fire and shadow, a gem that carries all colors at once within its dark body. Rank third, black opal, the fire beneath the dark. At the edge of the Australian outback lies a town that shouldn't exist. Lightning Ridge, a sunburnt place of dust, silence, and underground dreams. Here miners descend through layers of white sandstone, hoping to find not gold, not diamonds, but color itself, trapped in stone. When the pick strikes right, the earth flashes back in electric blue, crimson, green, and violet. The black opal, a gem that contains every color the eye can see, burning against a background of night. Black opal is hydrated silica, a mineraloid formed when ancient rainfall seeped into Cretaceous clay beds, carrying silica in suspension. Over millions of years, as the desert dried, those silica spheres settled in microscopic layers, aligning so precisely that they diffract light like a natural hologram. When the base rock is dark, the colors erupt with impossible intensity. Lightning Ridge in New South Wales, Australia, is the only place on Earth where this precise geological alignment, dark potch base plus perfect sphere order, occurs in abundance. Every piece is unique. No two opals ever repeat their pattern. Some show broad flashes, others pinfire constellations. Each is a fingerprint of light, never to be seen again. In gemology, no color is as haunting as the play of color inside black opal. Within a single stone, you can see the entire spectrum, from ocean green to volcanic red, shifting as if alive. Collectors call this phenomenon the living flame. Unlike diamonds, which refract light mechanically, opal diffracts it emotionally, shimmering, changing, seducing. When polished into cabochon domes, the surface looks like a window into a burning sky. High-grade stones display what cutters call harlequin pattern, a mosaic of colors so sharp they appear digital. No two eyes see the same opal the same way. Its beauty is subjective and intimate, almost sentient. For this reason, artists call it the painter's gem, a stone that never stops changing. Lightning Ridge opal fields are nearing exhaustion. Most of the great finds were made between the 1960s and 1990s. Today, a single carat of top-grade black opal, with vivid red flashes and dark body tone, can fetch $10,000 to $40,000 per carat, with record stones exceeding $100,000. But beyond price, what drives value is pattern rarity. Broad flashes greater than harlequin, greater than rolling fire, greater than pinfire. Once a stone with red dominance appears, it's gone forever. It cannot be replicated or mined predictably. Investors treat Lightning Ridge opal as a finite art form, a natural NFT, one of one by creation, immune to reproduction. Where diamonds depend on uniformity, black opal thrives on singularity. To Aboriginal Australians, opal was born when a rainbow touched the earth, leaving color behind as spirit stone. Lightning Ridge itself sits on ancestral land where Dreamtime stories say the ground burns when seen by those who believe. To miners, it's both a curse and a blessing. Fortunes made and lost overnight. In Western mythology, opal once symbolized bad luck, a rumor spread by jealous diamond traders in the 19th century. Today, it has reclaimed its truth, the gem of imagination, the embodiment of light emerging from darkness. In art and psychology, it represents creative chaos, beauty that defies order, brilliance born from imperfection. Diamonds capture order. Black opal celebrates chaos. So tell me, which one feels more human to you? Comment your answer below. I'll feature one in the next episode. From the fire within darkness, we rise to the stone once crowned the rarest on Earth. A mineral so scarce that for years, only 2 crystals were known to exist. Ranked second, Painite, the forgotten record of rarity. For decades, gemologists whispered about a mineral so rare that it could be seen but not owned. It was first found in Burma in 1951 by the British mineralogist Arthur C.D. Payne, who thought he had discovered brown tourmaline. When later tested, it turned out to be something entirely new, a crystal unlike any known composition on Earth. The specimen was named Painite after its accidental discoverer. For half a century, only 2 crystals were known to exist. That made Painite, officially, the rarest mineral in the world. Painite is a borate of calcium, zirconium, aluminum, and oxygen. It forms under extraordinary metamorphic conditions where boron-rich fluids infiltrate aluminous metamorphic rocks, conditions so unstable they can barely exist before the structure collapses. Even a few degrees of variation can destroy its atomic order. That's why Painite's crystal lattice remained a singular event in geologic history. Its reddish-brown hue with flashes of crimson and orange comes from trace amounts of chromium and vanadium, giving it the warmth of garnet mixed with the depth of topaz. When faceted, it shows a subtle inner glow, not bright but dignified, almost ancient. Painite doesn't seduce with flash, it speaks with gravity. Its color sits between ember and dusk, a gem that looks like the earth remembering its own fire. Under daylight, it gleams auburn. Under incandescent light, it deepens to burgundy. Collectors often describe its beauty as archaeological, less a jewel, more a relic. Its refractive index, 1.78, and density give it a solemn presence. When held, it feels heavy for its size, as if condensed with history. Where diamonds glitter with precision, painite glows with permanence. It's the difference between sparkle and survival. When Burmese miners uncovered a few more crystals in the early 2000s, the gem world erupted. For decades, painite's price was immeasurable because it never entered commerce. Now, with fewer than 1,000 gem-quality stones confirmed worldwide, its market remains ultra-niche and volatile. Faceted stones over 1 carat fetch $50,000 to $100,000 per carat, depending on clarity and origin. But collectors don't buy painite for profit. They buy it for proof. It represents the limit of nature's complexity, where chemistry, chance, and time intersect once, then vanish. Unlike diamond, painite's value can't be standardized. It's a finite discovery, already complete. No new mines, no treatments, no synthetics. Just the quiet certainty that what exists now is all that ever will. In Burmese folklore, red stones symbolize immortality, light surviving through earth. Painite, born in the same valley as royal rubies, took that symbolism and turned it inward. A light that survives even if unseen. To scientists, it became a symbol of rarity itself. To collectors, the philosopher's gem. Proof that not all value can be multiplied. In modern metaphoric terms, painite stands for completion. The point beyond which rarity no longer competes, it simply is. Owning one is less about luxury than legacy. The privilege of holding the end of a story. Diamonds are abundant, marketed as eternal. Painite is almost gone and never needed to be advertised. So tell me, in your eyes, which is more valuable, what lasts forever or what only happens once? Share your answer below. I'll feature one reflection in the finale. And so we arrive at the end of our journey, the one gem that may finally outshine them all, not by rarity or myth, but by the union of every value we've sought. Light, color, and permanence reborn. In first place, Demantoid Garnet, the diamond challenger. When the first demantoid was discovered in the Ural Mountains around 1853, the miners thought they had unearthed fragments of green fire. The stones glittered brighter than anything they had ever seen, even diamonds. Under light, they didn't just shine, they danced, scattering rainbows faster and sharper than any gem known. Tsarist jewelers soon realized what they had found, a garnet that outperformed the king of gems. They called it demantoid, from the Dutch demant, meaning diamond-like. More than a century later, its brilliance still defies comparison, and by 2030, it may finally claim the throne diamonds have held for too long. Demantoid is the green variety of andradite garnet, a calcium iron silicate born in metamorphosed serpentinites rich in chromium and iron. Its dispersion, 0.057, the measure of spectral fire, is higher than that of a diamond, 0.044, giving it that explosive rainbow sparkle. The source lies in Russia's Ural Mountains, where conditions of high pressure and chromium-bearing rock converge perfectly. The presence of delicate golden inclusions, horsetail fibers of chrysotile, became the signature of Russian origin, a natural fingerprint that no lab can imitate. Later, in the late 1990s, Namibia's Erongo region yielded a second generation of demantoid, cleaner, brighter, and more available, but lacking the storied inclusions of its Ural ancestor. Between these two localities, the gem's global identity was reborn. To the naked eye, demantoid appears as a vivid green flame, shifting between emerald, peridot, and neon olive, depending on light. It is among the few stones whose internal fire can be seen even in shadow. When cut well, its flashes seem to leap from within, refracting into a spectrum so intense that jewelers nickname it the small sun. Unlike diamond's cold white, Demantoid radiates warmth. Its light feels alive, complex, organic, unpredictable. Cartier, Fabergé, and Tiffany once said it in imperial pieces. Today, avant-garde designers resurrect it as the gem of conscious luxury. Natural brilliance without monopoly, beauty without pretense. For nearly a century after the Russian Revolution, Demantoid vanished. The mines closed and the gem slipped into obscurity until Namibia's discoveries revived interest. Now, with Russian sources dwindling and Namibian yields limited, supply is again tightening, just as global collectors rediscover its scientific superiority over diamond. Fine Russian stones with strong dispersion, invisible horsetail inclusions, now exceed $10,000 per carat, while top Namibian gems reach $5,000 to $7,000 per carat. Auction records have doubled in the past decade. Analysts predict that by 2030, as consumers pursue rarity over reputation, Demantoid will become the benchmark of ethical brilliance, an heir apparent to the diamond legacy. Unlike diamonds, whose value is stabilized by industry marketing, Demantoid's growth is organic. Powered by science, scarcity, and authenticity, it represents a new hierarchy. Light first, brand second. In Tsarist Russia, Demantoid was the stone of progress, the color of renewal and intellect. Fabergé used it to symbolize modernity, crafting the green spark of spring into imperial eggs and brooches. In European lore, it came to represent truth revealed through light, a moral inversion of diamond's opulent mystique. Today, that symbolism resonates again. Sustainability over excess, individuality over conformity. To wear Demantoid is to choose illumination over illusion. Diamonds define the past 2 centuries through perfection. Demantoid may define the next through honesty of light. So if value itself is evolving, from permanence to perception, which gem do you believe truly deserves the crown? Leave your answer below. One will be featured in the finale archive. And so, our journey closes where it began, not beneath the earth, but within light itself. The stones we've seen are not just relics of geology, they are mirrors of human desire, our search for meaning, permanence, and wonder. Diamonds once ruled that story, but as the century turns, new voices rise, colored, imperfect, alive. Value was never about what endures, but about what still dares to shine. 15 stones, 15 answers to a single question humanity has asked for centuries. What makes something truly precious? We began beneath the ocean, where Aquaprase whispered the promise of discovery. We crossed deserts, volcanoes, and lost empires. We touched stones that change color, others that remember fire, and one that outshines even the king of gems. For 200 years, diamonds ruled by perfection. Flawless, predictable, eternal. But the world is changing. Value no longer hides in what never changes. It lives in what continues to evolve. These gemstones aren't just rarer, they're truer. Born from chaos, pressure, and chance, they remind us that light doesn't need permission to be precious. So perhaps the diamond's age was never about eternity. Maybe it was about learning what comes next. The new age of light. Thank you for walking this journey with us, through Earth's hidden heart and humanity's endless hunger for wonder. Which of these stones to you truly deserves to overtake the diamond? Leave your thoughts below, because the next story begins with your answer.